Welcome back, everybody. We have started H.P. Lovecraft. According to my wife, we finished H.P. Lovecraft. I am a huge fan. She's been seeing me nerd out
He's been geeking out about this, and I feel so bad.
for years. Funny behind-the-scenes background. I only recently, semi-recently, but like I said, it's been years. Let's say 5 years of dabbling in the fastidiousness of Lovecraftian horror. I have to throw a big word in there, which is going to be something that she don't like.
Where's my Kindle so I can look it up?
Yeah. Yeah, so she can tap the definition.
Someone give him points on Scrabble.
I just make up fake words when I impersonate Lovecraft around her and see if she knows which ones are real and which ones aren't. Point is, I'm not saying I'm an OG. I've been reading this since middle school or high school or nothing, but I have come to love Lovecraft, and she does not.
No.
Spoiler alert. So the stories we read that we'll be talking about, I'm sure we'll get to all of them anyways, because I'm going to manipulate her.
Disclaimer.
Yeah.
I haven't read the entire body of his work, and I haven't read what some would say are his best works.
Yes.
We've started because Freddie decided that we should go in chronological order.
I didn't decide that. You decided I decided that, and I said, whatever, we'll go with it. I have a cool little workflow. There's somebody on Reddit, you type up like order to read. Somebody made a really great little image of the flow from the stories, because there's no like canon. There's no like thing order that he says to read them in.
If you're going to jump into this, don't listen to these people.
Well, let me just finish this point. Hold on. Let me finish this point. That first off, you cut me off for it just ended. I ended saying I'm going to manipulate you. So let's finish that one. That point was I'm going to manipulate your perfectionist. You want to completionist. So you're going to read this whole thing eventually.
I am.
Who we kidding?
I am.
In case you guys want to see opinions on more, but the stories we've read so far are The Beast in the Cave, The Alchemist, The Tomb, Dagon, and you technically read the cat one. What's it called? The Cats. I didn't read that one. The Cats of Ulthar. So she even read Dagon, guys, and she didn't like it.
I might have read the tree one.
Okay, yeah, I saw you had that open, so I wasn't sure if you finished it.
I might have read it.
Alright, well, the point is, she read Dagon, and on that workflow it says, once you read Dagon, you can decide which branch to go in. Do you want to go aquatic, or do you want to go space? You know, there's a couple different branches of his works that you can go, and it's really cool.
I picked neither. I read the cat one.
Yeah, she read Ulthar.
I don't know if I made a mistake.
So she didn't like Dagon, guys. So we'll get to that. I think let's start with your opinion in general, and then we'll hop into just the chronological.
All right, which is the first one we're covering?
Okay, you don't want to add anything? Yeah, so the first one was The Beast in the Cave.
That one, the fact that he wrote it when he was 14.
Yeah, it was his first writing.
Kudos.
Now, we're not sure. Both of us were skeptical. Do you think he actually wrote we're looking at a finished 14-year-old's work, or did he...
Yeah, like he had the story when he was 14, and then he polished it up at 30. I don't know.
Yeah, we don't know. But supposedly he wrote it at 14. And I could see it. It's not like it's crazy.
I mean, it was fun. I mean, I'm not going to tell you. It's not like life-changing work.
Yeah.
This short story was not like... There are short stories I have read that have stayed with me, that I love.
Yeah.
That I just feel like they are an art, the way that these writers were able to put so much into such a small amount of space and time. This is not one of them. Yeah. None of these are any of them.
It says it was started in spring 1904 and finished in 1905 when he was 14. So yeah, he wrote this as 14.
So yeah,
they have a cool image online of it.
The fact that he wrote that at 14 is that is really impressive.
And in 1905,
and then he never improved.
God damn, bars. I hope they're watching on Spotify so they can't dislike. So they can't leave a nasty comment.
Look, like I said, I know. I understand. I haven't read some of his best stuff.
But I do feel like it all just
kind of stays the same. Like, these stories were all the same amount of everything. They even felt like you could have just had ChatGPT spit them out, where they were like the same. It was the same format. Like,
Mole.
Here's a story. Here's the cliff ending. here's the repeating, like.
I know what you mean though. So if you're a triggered Lovecraftian fan in the chat, in the listening,
come at me, bro.
I was like, look, I want this because there's got to be people that agree with you. I think when I first got into it, it was just weird to me. I wasn't horrified of like weird, monster things. I didn't get what Cthulhu was. Like, I've heard about the mythos before I ever read the stories, and it didn't appeal to me either. Like, jump out at me that this was super cool. But once I started to, and to be fair to you, it's I say read, I mean listen to the audiobooks, and there's really great guys on YouTube that do different versions, and I don't know, maybe that makes it the ambiance, the creepiness, the tone, the old timey.
Like I said, I think maybe I messed up not reading just the best works first.
Yeah, but that's why I bring up Dagon. I think if you read Dagon and don't like it and you're not interested at all, then you probably don't like his writing style, his genre
Dagon's
of horror.
The one with the fish person, the fish people?
Yeah. The one where he's on the muck. He's like in the thing. Yeah. We'll get to them all in detail, but yeah. Yeah, see what I mean, guys? She did read enough, so. I said I like it because there's people that don't like him. He's pretty polarizing. There's people
look.
Well, not his real world beliefs, which are obviously polarizing.
This is the thing. I'm coming at you as someone who fully understands that he was a cultural impact. The fact that he was writing about these things, maybe in his time, because that's the other thing. I don't know a lot of writing from his time specifically. I have read old stories and old type literature, and I even took a Shakespeare class.
You
so
made a good
come
point.
At me like
H.
if I
G.
haven't
Wells,
read like.
Who's the other guy? Yeah.
But
when
I like how I took one Shakespeare class, everyone's gonna be like, "Ooh, so you're a genius?
Yeah,
you're
really.
an expert."
But
no, but I mean,
she's read older stuff.
I've read old stuff,
yeah.
And I took multiple literature classes, classical lit. Like, it's
because
not like
we were talking
I haven't
about how
delved into older.
The words and the style are old.
Yeah.
But
so what I'm trying to say is, like,
I
know that the style and the type of writing for his time might have been groundbreaking.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that he isn't.
But to your point, Jules Verne was writing.
I just don't know that I'm a fan.
Yeah.
Personally,
mm-hmm.
I'm not taking away from him. I just don't know if I like it so far.
Yeah.
I can change my opinion later.
That's true. Sorry, Jules Verne was writing during the Civil War, the American Civil War, which is always a weird, one of those cool stats that feels like out of time, those cool history facts. So to your point, I mean, is that too old? If anybody's saying, like, oh, you just don't like the old style or the bigger words or the thing you like that I joke about, but, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea was written in 1869-70. So that's, 30 years before Lovecraft wrote his first stuff, and really 60 years before a lot of Lovecraft's most popular works. So you can't claim that it's a hatred of, these older, bigger words, funkier, kind of clunky style. So, and I do think that, to your point, that a lot of people do critique Lovecraft. He isn't look, I'm the guy defending him, but even when I was listening to one, I was like, dude, you almost worded it the exact same way. There's a lot of technical, amateurish aspects to his writing.
He just tends to follow, like, from everything that I've been reading, it tends to follow a really similar format. Mm-hmm. He's extremely repetitive in what he's trying to create is like a rhythm or like a hypnotizing, but he does it all the time. Yeah.
And that's what I meant by literally rewording it in Shadow over Innsmouth when he's on the run.
And then he's always like, oh, I would speak of this, but I cannot go into detail, for your ears should not hear such things. Yeah. Like, all of his stories have that. And I would say of these things that should not be said.
They're short stories, man. You got to get them out. You got to get that paper. He had a very tough real life. She was laughing at this book as an intro. It's free on Kindle.
I'm so sorry.
It's darkly sad.
I wasn't laughing at his life. I was kind of laughing at the way the intro was written.
Yeah, it was written very blunt. And then this guy was locked in the loony bin, and then this guy.
Yeah. It's like
Jesus
his
Christ.
dad died in a sanitarium, and then his mom later died in the same sanitarium.
Yeah,
I'm like,
and he's going to go on to write stories about guys that die in sanitariums. that literally go to madness, either use heroin
just
to get
whoever
out
wrote that intro, y'all made me laugh. And I apologize.
It's not their fault.
You were probably not trying to, but there was something about the way you wrote it that I would.
Yeah.
It didn't feel very sincere.
Yeah.
And you didn't win me over. I was like, what's going on?
Yeah, and he obviously struggled a lot in his real life.
It didn't make it seem like he was, like, I don't know how to explain it.
And you have everything going for you, because The Beast in the Cave, it literally starts off with talking about the Mammoth Caves, which we really want to go to.
I'm really excited to go to the Mammoth Caves. And I didn't realize how easy it would be to get lost, so we're attaching a leash to our child now.
Yeah, because the young man in this story gets separated from the crowd, and like I said, there's
he doesn't. No, he does not get separated. Well, he deliberately decides to leave them. He's like, imagine you're with a group of people. It was, from the sounds of it, the tour guide knew everybody, so you're probably with a group of like 20 people.
Yeah. I don't know why it's cool to think of tours back then, going down there. Like, so there's no apps to meet up.
In like a cavern in the Mammoth Caves, and the guide's taking you around, and this kid was just like, you know what would be a good idea? If I stop following these people and just go down a random cavern with this torch that I have and figure out my own way out.
Yeah.
Of the Mammoth Caves.
And you got a bunch
like, this sounds like Freddy when he said that he could fight a bear.
I had a lot of stipulation.
I met him and he was like, okay, maybe I can't fight a bear, but I could definitely take on a wolf.
I think you could fuck a wolf up. A single wolf.
I just love that 12 years later, you haven't changed your stance at all.
In a bear with a decent spear, I think.
No, you used to say fist for fist.
No, I did not.
Yes, you did.
I must have been so jacked back then.
As your wife.
Man, I must have been huge and muscular. Man, sucks nobody took pictures. Sucks they photoshopped all those pictures. Point is, let's talk about the story. Okay. What did you like about the Beast in the Cave?
I did like it was cool, this idea that there's either a lost person or some subspecies within the cave.
I love you read 4 Lovecraft stories and you're referring to other humanoids as subspecies. Guys that know Lovecraft, you'll get that one. But yes, obviously it's like a humanoid. It's like a Homo erectus, some lost evolutionary branch, or a de-evolved humans that got lost in the cave. Like, or he could have been. Guy. Yeah, your hilarious point. I'm so excited for her to get into Lovecraft, and of course, so the ending is. Let me summarize. He gets lost in the cave. Something's chasing him. He feels it stalking him. It's going to attack him. Oh my God, what is it?
Sometimes it runs on 4 legs. Sometimes it runs on 2.
He throws a big old sharp rock at it. It falls dead, or it's struggling.
No, he throws one rock and he misses because it jumps out of the way in the dark. And then he throws another rock and he hits it.
Yeah.
Because at this point his torch has gone out.
Yeah, so he's fighting in the dark. Very cool. Just peak horror fiction writing here. You'd agree, right? And yeah, so then he runs, and then the guide finds him.
He runs the guide, who realized he wasn't there, like he predicted he would realize he's not there because it's a group of like 20 people.
Yeah.
He goes back looking for him, and he runs into the guide, and he's like, "Hey, I probably killed something back there.
Killed a panther
with a rock.
Yeah.
That I threw."
Yeah, I know, which is interesting, but
I guess 14.
You could do.
He was 14.
And yeah, it could happen, you know.
He was 14. I mean, you thought you could fight a bear at 21, so.
Maybe he was as jacked as I was. Who knows?
So him and the guide go back.
His photos don't seem like it either. Yeah, the guide comes back. He sees him with the
he has a torch, so they put the torch, and they see that it's this like humanoid, ape-like creature that's.
But it was a man.
Yeah, but it had like long white hair.
Yeah, it had long white hair, sunken black eyes. Those were black. Those eyes, deep jetty black, in hideous contrast to the snow white hair and flesh.
Oh, and did I highlight it for you?
This is peak writing, isn't it? Right? Yeah, and they're basically, the thing has its like final breath. It's trying to say something.
Probably help.
Yeah. In perfect modern English, and they're like, man, that's so strange that this lost.
Who taught the Sasquatch how to speak?
Yeah. That's true. That's way before Sasquatch reports, I believe. And look, this is before Planet of the Apes, this whole idea of playing with this eeriness of, is it a man? Is it an ape? It's a different type of.
So the chapter ends. It's a man.
Mm-hmm.
The creature I had killed, the strange beast of the unfathomed cave, was or had at one time been a man.
And you turned over.
It's impressive that he was 14.
It is very. And you turned over and said, he just killed somebody lost, some old guy got lost in the woods.
Yeah, I literally was like, he just killed an old guy.
And I'm like, that's so spooky. You're supposed to be spooky.
I was like,
it's so spooky, right?
He committed elderly abuse.
Yeah, I had never read this one. I only
want
to
read
read
of the ones. Guy got lost from some other guide.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's another guy on the
wandering
tour.
Around.
He just could be on the tour with them.
Or he might have got lost. Who knows? There might have been lost
old man.
I was saying
he's a bootlegger. He's just some bootlegger running around in the woods.
Some hobo lost in the caves.
And and they just kills him. So that was hilarious. Should have been my warning that you weren't taking Lovecraft very seriously. And despite that one, him trying to be a horror writer and not a comedy writer, his next story is literally the most memed and made fun of story.
The Alchemist.
Even by Lovecraft fans, yes, The Alchemist. Which, if this whole spoilers, of course.
I was so sad.
At the ending, yeah.
I really thought that the guy that raised him was going to be... Or, I was really hoping and gunning that the guy that had supposedly raised him was going to be the one that had killed everyone. And it was just some random-ass dude hiding in the floors.
Yeah.
We don't talk about Bruno, no.
So the story summary, it's French royalty. His shit goes back to the Middle Ages.
His name, Antoine.
I love it. During the Asimov thing, you made Daniil, you made Au revoir, you made the perfect, you're making other
French
people
guy.
French, and Antoine. And you can't do Antoine.
Antoine.
And I like how he's Lovecraft is such a great writer, and he keeps it so mysterious. He see how he doesn't finish his name. Conde.
Just to say.
C. There's only a C. We don't know his full name because he's a super secret count man. The creepy, we'll call him.
So he comes from this long line of people that are not very long anymore because he's the only one left, even though he's 200 years old. No, he's 90, right?
Yeah, he's not a super... No, who? The kid that...
The main character. Yeah,
no, he's 32. The guy that's taking care of him. Oh, okay.
Everyone that dies is 32. Because he goes...
You're talking about the aide that's helping him.
No.
Our guy's not 32.
He's 90.
Our guy's not 90.
Oh my God, he is 90.
I was in one of the vast gloomy chambers of this reigning tower that I, Antoine, first saw light of day 90 years ago.
Thank you.
But...
Okay, when did you first see the light of day?
I don't know which life you're talking about because I'm a reincarnated being, so it's a little
I just
tricky.
love that I highlighted this. He's 90, so he officially surpassed the curse.
Yeah, because he's writing behind.
He's running ahead.
I'm saying he's writing about...
Yeah, he's 90, and he's talking, and he's he's gonna die soon of old age. Pierre, the guy that raised him, dies forever ago.
Okay, that's kind of funny. I went over that. I will tell you something that is...
Are you a Lovecraft fan?
I love Lovecraft. Point is...
Do you know how to read?
I don't know how to read. And I'm trying to read this one on your tablet with you, and you read too fast.
I'm so sorry.
So I'll blame you somehow.
I'm sorry.
My point is to your point about... I'll prove I'm a Lovecraft fan. Because he does this a lot. He's writing... The character is writing about things that happened to him in the past.
Yeah.
So it's like, dude, I know you survived.
Yeah. So
it's a little bit of in the shadow of...
It's literally why I was like, this one...
Yeah.
I get it. So you're 90 and you're telling me about how your entire family has a curse upon them.
Yeah.
That they don't live past the age of 32. And he's like, I purposely didn't have children because I figured out that was a loophole. If I don't have kids, I don't die. But then it turns out that wasn't true. It was that the guy, because his great-grandfather, I guess.
Yeah, maybe
the main character's great-grandfather killed someone that was said to have been an alchemist. The alchemist had a son,
Mm-hmm.
or I guess he was an alchemist. His son, which they called the sorcerer, found out that he killed the alchemist and put a curse upon the family.
Well, he was with them when it happened, right?
He like
because he runs out into the woods. He throws that whole like spooky...
The son was in the woods. He comes running over.
Yeah.
Sees that they've killed him and like.
But they chase him out and he does some. I also laughed at that because I was stuck in my head.
Like
he does
throws
some
water
spooky
on
ninja
them,
thing. Yeah.
And the guy dies.
Yeah.
And then, everyone after that, the kid's dad dies at 32.
Yeah.
And someone else dies at 32, and they're all kind of like mysterious ways that they die. And then when he talks to the guy on the floor is like, "How did you not know that it was I, the sorcerer, that did this and kept killing everyone at the age of 32? Because the curse was that no one would ever surpass the age of the original guy that killed my dad.
Yeah.
I don't understand how none of you saw that it was me all along."
Yeah, it's like because nobody knows you can live for hundreds of years.
Yeah.
So
because it was like generations of this happening.
The way it's made fun of is
I
always...
guess it wasn't as great. I don't know.
That his big spooky plot twist was that it just actually is a multi-100-year-old alchemist that has to go around doing these Assassin's Creed style missions, assassinating this...
Basically like Bruno living in the floors and walls of this place.
Yeah. And that he just waits till they're 32 because they all die. One died from a rock falling, and one dies randomly.
It's like a decrepit castle, and somehow a rock miraculously fell on him. Like the castle's described as falling apart.
Yeah, and one of the other guys he just drops dead in the field.
Yeah, they're like, it's as if he was poisoned, but he was all by himself. I'm like,
yeah.
So we're just gonna rule out that he was poisoned?
Yeah. So it's like this alchemist doing these little stealth missions forever. Instead of it being some big spooky
what's that
curse.
Game where your guy hides in Metal Gear? He's
hiding
he's just in a cardboard box.
He's just in a medieval crate.
Take this.
Yeah. So I was like, look, this one is literally made fun of because it's not spooky at all. There is no curse. And I do love he ends it on all caps. These are 2 stories back to back.
This is what I mean by the format.
Yeah. For I am Charles Le Sorcier. So that one's pretty funny. That's a classic. And I was like, look.
I guess like what's spooky? Like that you killed this guy, our main character kills him because he's 90 or something?
It's not spooky. It just is kind of funny. I get that he was trying to be spooky.
Have I not told you of the great elixir of eternal life?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, does that mean... I don't know. Like, I guess you could think, like, maybe they became friends, and then you get to live to 90 because you took the great elixir of eternal life. But then wouldn't he be able to, like, have kids also?
Yeah.
Anyway.
It's okay.
Confucius had kids at what age?
He was, yes. He was 80-something. Or maybe it was Lao Tzu. I think it was Lao Tzu.
Somebody.
Yeah. Maybe, no, it was Confucius.
Then the next one is the tomb.
Yes. I actually really like the tomb. The point is...
I think of all of them, this one was one of the best.
At least the more intellectually stimulating, even if...
It was one of the better ones, and it wasn't the same, like, exact format.
Yeah. And I was saying that the formula of having to pick these 4, I was like, all right, the first ever Lovecraft he wrote, this one that's literally a popular meme making fun of Lovecraft, so all right, and then the tomb, which I like, it's spooky. I actually think this one is spookier.
No, I actually, like, of all of them, the tomb was my favorite.
Yeah, and
the second one's actually, I think, either the cats or the tree one.
Huh. Okay. Yeah, not Dagon. I'm gonna cry. This one I like, though. I think captures a lot of what Lovecraft does well too, though. And like writers nowadays just can't write shit like this. This feels older. This feels like, I don't know, this era. Even the way the technology that he has, all these little lockets and things. What are you trying to read?
No, I'm just wondering why you think no one can.
Not that they can't write like that, but I'm just... I don't know. I guess we're reading Stephen King. It's all set in like modern day.
Yeah.
I guess, of course, people could write back then. Write about times back then. But I guess with Lovecraft and his big old words and kind of clunkier style and, So the plot of this one is this guy's a loner. He goes off in the woods. He doesn't have friends. He's not... and he... What?
He just scampers off into the woods and does creepy things by himself. Like
yeah, he's literally an emo. He's like
he's not just an emo. He's also a little bit of a stuck up. He's like, my family is rich.
Yeah.
And I'm too smart to hang out with the other kids.
Yeah.
I almost want to find it.
Yeah, to actually find the quote.
I do not think that what I read in these books or saw in the fields and groves was exactly what other boys read and saw there, but of this I may say little, since detailed speech would but confirm those cruel slanders upon my intellect, which I sometimes overhear from the whispers of the stealthy attendants around me.
Could you at least visualize this one? I visualized this one really well. I don't know why I visualized a lot of Lovecraft pretty well. This one was cool. Like, I really picture these little cool groves, and it makes me want to just go off in the woods, and especially back then, like, you don't have Google Maps, not everything's overly civilized, and you could just stumble upon these cool little areas. And he finds a tomb, as the title suggests, and he hangs out around there, and there's a
so he finds this tomb, and it's got this giant slab door and these chains on it, and you can't like go into the tomb. Mm-hmm. But he's like so fixated on this tomb, and so he'll like hang out in front of it, and then he feels like he can hear things calling him from within the tomb, and he tries to like mess with the lock, but he has no way to like figure it out. Mm-hmm. And he decides that one day the key to the lock will be given to him, or he'll stumble upon it, like kind of like a video game, like he'll level up and he'll be able to like get it at some point, or it'll be rewarded to him when the time is right. So one night he like wakes up or something. I don't remember how this works, but basically he knew for whatever reason where the key was, and he was able to open the door and slip into this tomb. And in this tomb is a bunch of people that have died that were of royalty and of this like lineage.
Yeah, I guess a rich noble family.
Hermie or something.
I'm looking through here.
I forget what the lineage was. I'm pretty sure it started with the H.
Yeah, one thing I don't want to forget is he finds a copy of Plutarch's Lives, Parallel Lives, which is Plutarch saying that you could look at these famous people. I hear George Lucas. It's like poetry. It rhymes. That these people have these parallel lives, different times. He'll compare, Caesar to somebody or something like that, like in the past. Like, look, almost like archetypes of life patterns. So, it's Lovecraft hinting or playing with, is he reincarnated the guy that's in the tomb, or he's part of this family?
Well, he definitely, so he says, Hyde is the family.
Okay, yeah.
And he says that, I think it's on his mom's side, that there was some type of maternal connection to the family, the Hyde lineage. Mm-hmm. And so, he's able to get the key, and he goes into the tomb, and there he finds a box that it's like cryptically, it's written where the first time he lays eyes upon the opening, the empty opening, it doesn't say who it's for, but it's for him.
Yeah. And you saw that coming, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I feel like it was pretty obviously, either we have gotten so good just as like a species in writing, that would be a very easy, like maybe Once Upon a Time that was like a huge plot twist when these types of things weren't common. Mm-hmm. So I'm not gonna say it wasn't, but I feel like for today's stage, it's kind of obvious, like he's laying it out there that this is the
that's where it was going.
Henceforth I haunted the tomb each night, seeing, hearing, and doing things I must never reveal.
Yeah, which is funny. To your point about the lack of description, like, what were you doing, bro? That's so nefarious that you can't talk about. Like, that's so interesting, and it's still just a tomb.
Oh yeah, this is what it was. An odd impulse, because I found where he actually finds the tomb. In a conspicuous alcove was one fairly well preserved and untenanted casket adorned with a single name, which brought to me both a smile and a shudder. An odd impulse caused me to climb upon the broad slab, extinguish my candle, and lie down within the vacant box. Not weird at all, bro.
Yeah.
In the light gray of dawn, I staggered from the vault and locked the chain of the door behind me. I was no longer a young man, though but 21 winters had chilled my bodily frame.
I love these.
Made me think of Ghost Adventures when they stuck what's his face in one of the morgue boxes.
Oh man, yeah.
Nick.
Who's the guy? Was it Nick? I don't know. They always
pretty
make
sure
fun
it was
of
Nick.
Who's
No,
the one we always make fun of?
It actually wasn't Aaron.
Okay, yeah.
Aaron.
Yeah, he's literally playing solo Ghost Adventures, our character here.
Sorry, Zach, but Aaron's kind of a spirit animal.
Yeah.
And not like that, but I do think I would react the way he does.
Wow.
What?
Yeah.
Or I'd be just fucking shitting my pants. Sorry.
It's true.
Like, I would just be terrified, like, no, I'm not going in there.
21 in the 1910s, whenever this is written, early 1900s. Like, bro, you're supposed to be married with kids by now. You're fucking off into the woods.
I just love he paints himself
laying
off like
down
he's
in a
like,
coffin.
oh, the boys laugh at me, ha ha ha. Like, bro, you're not 14.
The silly dillies of my schoolyard, yeah. It's like, yeah, exactly. You are a grown man. Because then he say I was no longer a young man. I was 21. Hey, look at that. Even the next line. Early rising villagers who observed my homeward progress looked at me strangely and marveled at the signs of ribald revelry which they saw in one's life who was known to be sober and solitary. Because as soon as he does that, as soon as he frolics in his tomb, like a normal 21-year-old does, he has a whole personality change. Like this says down here, like now he's all like bombastic. He just starts, he dips into these, like he says, an effusion of 18th century bacchanalian mirth, a bit of Georgian playfulness never recorded in a book. So like he says, he never read this, and yet he can belt out these long poems, these like drinking poems, like they're for giant parties.
My speech, always susceptible to environmental influences, was the first thing to succumb to the change, and my suddenly acquired archaism of diction was soon remarked upon. Mm-hmm. Later, a queer boldness and recklessness came into my demeanor, till I unconsciously grew to possess the bearing of a man of the world despite my lifelong seclusion. My formerly silent tongue waxed voluble with the easy grace of a Chesterfield or the godless cynicism of a Rochester.
Yeah.
Almost said Rochester.
So I get it's a bit heavy-handed, a bit on the nose. Like, yeah, he's clearly, possessed. Or, like you said, what do you think? He's possessed, or is he... The Shining plays with this, which is the next book we're going to talk about. But this whole idea of, like, you get into a mental field of someone, like... He's definitely influenced by this person, and you could argue it is just memories. Is there anything actively that this older Jarvis is doing? Like, no, he could just be literally picking up on personality traits, on imprints, because he's reciting his poem, and he has memories of what happened to the old life.
I think that's where that is the mystery. Like, is he possessed, or is it like in The Shining where he's just falling under the influence of being in the tomb and being surrounded by all these, like...
Yeah. Like in real, spooky lore, like the stone tape theory that, like, sometimes there's two different types of haunting. I forget what you call, like, the conscious, like, active, it really is living and talking and knows current day stuff. And the other one is it's just like a recording that the person's just going down the stairs, or you're hearing them wash dishes, just their day-to-day stuff.
He also grew, so he was, like, terrified of thunder and fire after this.
Yeah, which it still fits with picking up and just absorbing or being dominated by the personality imprint.
Yeah.
It's still not an active, alive being. But...
So it's around this time that his parents, realizing that their son is not acting like himself, hire some people to literally start following him around.
Yeah.
So he gets
some
followed.
Pinkerton boys. I don't know if that was even made yet. The detectives. But yeah, it's just his family.
First, there's like a spy, and the spy just... Because he keeps saying that he has a key to the vault.
Yeah.
As
he
a
wears
tomb.
it on his chest.
He wears it around his neck, and he goes in every night.
Yeah.
But the spy, for whatever reason, tells his parents, he goes, imagine my delighted astonishment on hearing the spy inform my parent in a cautious whisper that I had spent the night in the bower outside the tomb, my sleep-filmed eyes fixed upon the crevice where the padlock and portal stood ajar.
Yeah, so as the spy says, he never actually went in the tomb.
Yeah, and so the main character says, like, the spy was deluded, something must have thrown him off.
Yeah.
But you, as a reader, could also think, well, if he's possessed or in a trance or being beckoned upon, he could, in theory, actually A, be going mad, or B, possessed, and be sitting there thinking he's doing all these things, and he's just sitting there. Yeah. So then one night he ventures out, and he kind of wishes he hadn't, because this is the night that everything changes. Yeah. He goes out, and there was this manor that had been burned to the ground that I guess belonged to this lineage of people. Hide. Yeah. And in the manor, he goes in because he sees all these people kind of going in, and they're all these people that are dead, and they're literally having a party, and they're like, bro, come party with us.
Mm-hmm. But, and this is where I was saying it's similar to this Shining without too many spoilers, like, because
several faces I had recognized, though I should have known them better had they been shriveled or eaten away by death and decomposition. These are literally people that he's looked in their tombs like, oh, hi, Jeffrey.
Yeah. Yeah, they're all the dead people that, like you said, he's seen them, but only, hundreds of years later, maybe, at least decades. The place gets hit by lightning, catches fire, everybody dies at that hide. Yeah. At that party, at the big fancy party. I think I lean, after going over it again with you, I think I lean a little bit possession, like a little bit of dominating his spirit almost, capturing his will.
What makes you, what keeps the reader on the line is that as this building supposedly dies before his eyes, he's terrified because he says, I might never lie in the tomb of hides. Was not my coffin prepared for me? Had I no right to rest till eternity amongst the descendants of Sir Joffrey Hyde? So he's terrified, and then it turns out that he had been woken up, and he's being grabbed by two spies that have been following him, and where I guess lightning had struck or something had struck, there's a burnt space
because
on the ground.
Because it was a storm, so the storm must have just washed it open.
So they dig into the ground, and they find a box, and in the box is a bunch of papers and a little miniature porcelain.
Yeah, I could just read it. It was the porcelain miniature of a young man in a smartly curled bagwig, and bore the initials J.H. The face was such that as I gazed, I might well have been studying my mirror. So
there's a little voodoo doll of him.
Yeah.
But porcelain.
But I take that as, so some cultures think you get reincarnated in your own family, into future generations. So, is he Jarvis? Jarvis? Jerva. Is he Jervis? I don't know.
So then what happens is, just to summarize, my father, who visits me frequently, declares that at no time did I pass the chain portal, and swears that the rusted padlock had not been touched for 50 years when he examined it. Against those assertions, I have no tangible proof to offer, since my key to the padlock was lost in the struggle on the night of the horrors.
Yeah.
A week ago he burst open the lock, which chains the door of the tomb perpetually ajar, and descended with a lantern into the murky depths. On a slab in an alcove he found an old but empty coffin, whose tarnished plate bears the single word Jervas. In that coffin and in the vault they have promised me I shall be buried.
Yeah.
So the reason that I'm saying readers can kind of stay, you can be a little on the fence on whether he's possessed or not, and actually went in there or not, because he claims to have laid down in a space that actually exists with his name. It's not.
Yeah, he's right. Is what you're saying. He's not actually mentally ill, making it all up.
There was a space there for him.
Yeah.
So I guess to your reincarnation, did he come back? Could he be a vampire?
He's the alchemist. You fool.
You fool! I drank the eternal life elixir.
Did you not know?
Then I hit my head and forgot.
Yeah, I threw my back out, killing people.
So this is definitely the cooler of the stories.
Yeah. I like it, and again, it's the narrator guys on YouTube. Look it up. There's great readers. They make it cool and spooky, and it's just a fun little short read.
It's fun if it's
also 20 minutes long, 50 minutes.
I recommend you listen to it during a stormy night with something to drink, like a hot chocolate or alcohol.
Hot chocolate and Lovecraft. Okay. It's probably not too far off.
Why? What's wrong with hot chocolate and apple?
No, you're right. Probably. Are you possessed? Are you a reincarnation of Elise, the sorcerer? The sorcerer?
I drank the life elixir.
The elixir. Yeah, I like this one. I guess we're good. You can't know,
it's not
which
like
is good writing.
Scary spooky, but it's like, oh.
Mentally like, whoa, mental spooky.
This is what I mean by the format, where like we end again like, the coffin did exist.
Yeah.
It just wasn't in all caps this time.
Yeah, really. Our first without all caps.
Yeah.
All right, you want to get to Dagon?
Yeah.
The greatest, changed your life, made you a Lovecraftian. You're going to get a cringe tattoo.
I'm reading this under an appreciable mental strain. Since by tonight I shall be no more.
Let me reread that. The first word of the story she was so underwhelmed by. After my hyping it up, so maybe I played that wrong. I am writing this under an appreciable mental strain. That's literally how Elise felt. Reading this at whatever at night, 12 something.
Since
probably.
by tonight I shall be no more penniless.
And by the end, and at the end of my supply of the drug which alone makes life endurable, I can bear the torture no longer, and shall cast myself from this garret window into the squalid street below.
Bars.
It is bars.
He's literally addicted to morphine, and he's gonna jump out the window.
It's San Francisco, baby. Nothing's changed in 100 years.
Hope this building's higher than 3 stories.
Yeah. Hey, he's on morphine, and he saw Dagon. I'm sorry if he's a little shook. He's a little shooketh. If he's continuousness
he's
of
shooketh because he was at sea for God knows how long without food or water.
Oh, so you think he's hallucinating too? Just like Jervis. Wow. Guess what? The tomb was real. The sorcerer was real. And this story's real.
I wish I could make slimy, spooky sounds.
The Cthulhu's gonna get you. Yeah. The madness, you fool. I like this one a lot as well.
What I liked about this one was, so we played this game called Sinking City.
Yeah.
This one definitely, of all the stories we read, connected to Sinking City the best.
I mean, this starts the Cthulhu mythos for most people.
I do think that if you like this stuff, but you don't necessarily want to read, Sinking City is got that vibe.
Yeah. Super side note,
in the words of the children.
Sorry to the creators. That game was so plainly made, clunky, just so strangely made. Sinking City.
Tell yourself it wasn't made in 2019 and you'll feel better.
If you feel, it's a 2010 game is what it feels like.
Yeah.
At that.
But it was such a cool concept.
At that, man, that's nuts.
The only thing I wasn't happy with the ending about that.
Do you think Lovecraft makes great concepts? Wow. I feel like I'm going mad.
I actually feel about this game the way I did about the writing, because I had blue balls at the end of it.
That's really funny.
So you're welcome.
Maybe they were just being lore accurate. They wanted you to feel clunky and bothered and annoyed, yet in love with the universe.
I just want you to say it was esoteric, just because.
This is no esoteric. Asimov, you don't even know what that means. You're full of quantaneous. God damn you, pusillanimousness. Anyways, that's a real word. It means to be combative, to be fighting.
Keep your Scrabble game.
Okay.
50 points to Gryffindor.
The change happened whilst I slept. Its details I shall never know, for my slumber, though troubled and dream-infested, was continuous. When at last I awaked, it was to discover myself half sucked into a slimy expanse of hellish black mire, which extended about me in monotonous undulations as far as I could see, and in which my boat lay grounded some distance away.
So what happened was he escaped another ship that had been taken prisoner.
Yeah.
And he somehow was like the lone survivor or escapee.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's out on this little raft.
Yeah.
Like a lifeboat. And then he hits land and he's thinking...
You get cosmic horror mixed with World War I
The region
seafaring.
was putrid with the carcasses of decaying fish and of other less describable things which I saw protruding from the nasty mud of the unending plain.
And that's what Elise thinks is bad writing. I do see your point. I'm just going to keep making fun of you because of it's so spooky. Because people that love Lovecraft will defend him.
Of course,
and overlook
dead
the
fish
fact
everywhere are spooky.
But he literally says to your point, like, and other less describable things. Like, I don't know, man. I don't got time to write like a whole description. I'm just gonna leave it vague and hope you get.
Perhaps I should not hope to convey in mere words the unutterable hideousness that can dwell in absolute silence and barren immensity.
Said a writer. Perhaps I should not hope to convey in mere words. Said the writer of a fiction that he's inventing.
So, I don't know. I'm sorry. I just feel like there's a lot of times that he just sneaks off and is like, I won't have to go into this.
It's sadly,
and it happens in every single one of them.
Because
every
it's
single
like,
one.
Yeah, I got a cool idea. I don't know. I could take the extra 20% effort and like flesh this out better, make it really good.
Oh, I have a great idea. I'll leave it to the imagination of the reader. Ooh.
Yeah, which is like underwater gods and cool freaky shit. That's cool. Because like Lovecraft, like we said, and you admit, like in the game, like the
Is that thunder?
Yeah, real world thunder,
okay.
Folks. As we're reading Lovecraft for the first time for the channel, that he comes up. He's very creative. He's one of the most creative writers, and just making this shit up out of thin air.
Yeah.
This mythos, but while also being so not creative, yeah, in his details. He's very like, which is why he's been the inspiration for so many things. Like you love so much stuff, like you said, the video game, but also, is it Black Mass or no Midnight Mass on Netflix? True Detective series.
Again, I'm not taking that away from him.
Yeah.
I don't doubt that he inspired a ton of people.
But that's what I'm making fun of. That's why I'm acting like Lovecraft
But I almost
cultist.
wonder if he angrily, like, I wonder how many of these people that created these things sat here and were like, really, bro? You couldn't describe it? I bet I could describe it. Oh, shit, that's a great idea.
That was his esoteric approach. There's your word.
I knew you were going to say it.
There's your vocab.
Thanks.
Esoteric Lovecraft wrote clunky on purpose so that y'all could run. Stephen King. Stephen. Alright, continue with the story. Basically, he's stuck on this giant... I literally asked her when she was so upset. I go, that wasn't creepy? He's like on this creepy undulating black ooze plane of existence. He just wakes up like, where the hell is he? There's not an island. There's no trees. There's no rocks.
Yeah,
he's like in a
thunder.
parallel universe.
He's in the middle of the ocean.
Yeah, that's even creepier. Just a black goo expanse. He's like on the bottom of the ocean is like what I get the vibe. Like, or like a piece, which is what he reasons. He goes, maybe a volcano must have.
I guess because I figure, like, I have watched or read or played things that have weird things happening in the ocean. So I'm like, yes, the ocean's a mysterious place. And it's very large and vast. And if you're out there by yourself, yes, you can be sucked into some weird portal or hit some weird Bermuda Triangle and be somewhere else, or end up at the bottom of the ocean through some weird whirlpool or some thunderstorm that takes you to the edge of the planet.
Nice, humble.
According to my grandfather.
Okay, well.
If you go 3 horizons over.
What does that mean? But go ahead.
Yeah, if you go to the horizon 3 times, at some point.
Do it.
I know, I'm trying to remember how he said it. You go a certain direction, you paddle out to the horizon, you get there 3 times, and then there's a part of the world that basically ends, and at the end, you will find the crystal lobsters that are the most delicious lobsters in the world. Yeah,
I heard this story in person. He was not mentally, like, gone.
No.
Yeah, we have no clue what that means. He's from Cuba, and...
If you know this story, please reach out.
Yeah, if you've heard this old man Cuban lore from any of your family, friends, please leave a comment. Nobody knows what this means. Esoteric grandpa with the hidden meaning. What is it? Symbolic, folks. We got to get the Freemasons involved. It's never good when you get there.
So, you're going to sit here and be like, oh, H.G.
Wells Lovecraft.
Yeah, sorry.
I just noticed that. H.G. Wells and H.P. Lovecraft. Huh. I gotta get my initial game up.
So you're gonna sit here and Lovecraft was so creative. My grandpa said the end of the world has the most delicious lobster.
I had to let you finish that point because it's so crazy that. But I was gonna say, I love how you're like humble, like, well, where I'm from, like nothing scares me, man. You're like, look, I know the horrors that are in my mind when it comes to the ocean.
Delicious.
Endless expanse of black goo. Like, I just think that's just a normal day for me.
I mean, at least what we found was delicious. Crystal's lobsters sound like a delicacy.
Crystal lobster sounds like a Pokemon. What does that even mean, lady?
It's gonna taste.
Her whole family's heard this story and is like, yeah, that's what Grandpa talks about. So, all right, now I do believe all these ancient myths that just get recorded.
Grandpa, I loved you.
I know it's true, but it is a hilarious and great story. He told me that story like super early into meeting you, by the way.
Yeah, which, by the way, total side rant, my grandfather only spoke Spanish, so Freddie heard this entire story in Spanish and was so confused.
In SAP. And I'm just like, what do you mean by that? And they're all like, yeah, that's the story. They were all desensitized to it. So Elise is trying to hit us up with she's not impressed by Lovecraft because she's desensitized to cosmic mystery, to seafaring horrors and the mind-bendingness
Well, no, I'm just trying to say
water.
that, yes, the ocean's a weird place.
All right. I know not why my dreams were so wild that night, but ere the waning and fantastically gibbous moon had risen far above the eastern plain, I was awake in a cold perspiration, determined to sleep no more. It's probably not going to work.
You were born under a gibbous moon.
Huh?
You were born under a gibbous moon.
How do you know that? Witchcraft?
I looked it up.
Really? See, these women, you'd be sleeping next to them and they're like looking up all kinds of esoteric lore on you.
You could have looked it up.
I could have, but I didn't. You're welcome.
I was born under a waning moon.
Oh, ew.
But it's cute because our moons,
no idea what it means.
Our moons come together and make a moon.
Oh, that's right. You did show me that. It was very cute. We're moon soulmates, guys.
I did it because of some stupid thing I saw on TikTok.
But it was cute. How many marriages and relationships were shattered by the moon sign?
I don't even want to know. I just thought it would be fun.
Yeah. Luckily, our moon signs matched, guys. So now I get to rant with somebody.
Yep. He gets to die with me.
Alrighty. But, you fool. I'm a fucking sorcerer. I have a stupid quest I gave myself. I have to go assassinate random people.
Oh yeah, that was the meme that the alchemist is like on the perpetual side quest.
Yeah. He made up this. They all got to kill him at 32. Like, he made the rules to this.
I'm like, shit, give me a second. I gotta exit my main quest to go kill guy's 31.
Anyways,
about to hit the time.
Urged on by an impulse which I cannot definitely analyze, I scrambled with difficulty down the rocks and stood on a gentler slope, gazing the Stygian deeps where no light had yet penetrated. And then he goes on, an object that gleamed whitely in the newly bestowed rays of the ascending moon, that it was merely a gigantic piece of stone.
I soon assured myself, but I was conscious of a distinct impression that its contour and position were not altogether the work of nature.
Basically, I'm just going to read it. I perceived beyond a doubt that the strange object was a well-placed monolith, whose massive bulk had known the workmanship and perhaps the worship of living and thinking creatures. On the middle of nowhere, black goo creepiness.
I could now trace both inscriptions and crude sculptures. The writing was in a system of hieroglyphics unknown to me and unlike anything I had ever seen in books, consisting for the most part of conventionalized aquatic symbols such as fishes, eels, octopi, crustaceans, mollusks, whales, and the like.
Can I pause on how you hit octopi, crustacean, mollusks, and struggled over whales? and wallies.
Whales.
See, it's proof it's not the big words. It's just hard to read on it sometimes.
I read good.
You read good fast. I think that these things were supposed to depict men, at least a certain sort of men, though the creatures were shown That's funny. Disporting like fishes in the waters of some marine grotto.
Oh, what?
I'm laughing at his old-timey spelling of shown. Okay?
Shoon.
Yeah. Or paying... What do you want me to say? Homage? Paying homage at some monolithic shrine which appeared to be under the waves as well.
I always read a homage.
No way. The Brits, they say herb too, and it's like, there is a H there, guys. I mean, as if the British pronounce all their letters.
Like, but is it bad? I kind of read this entire thing in like English, like.
Go die in it. Yeah. They make fun of our American pronunciation.
But like a stuck up, like, at least a certain sort of man, though the creatures had shown disporting like fishes in the waters.
Yeah. Alright, I see what you mean. But he's now jumping out a window in San Fran with his morphine addiction. Yeah, I mean, I'll just jump. Basically, he finds it. So if you don't know, there's a whole Dagon is an actual god that's mentioned in the Bible. It's a water thing. There's all kinds of the biggest myths of like these fish man god things that come out of the ocean. So everybody has it. India has it. Egypt has it. The whole belt. I mean, the Asians have it. All kinds of Japanese stuff I've seen. So this thing's all over the place, and you get people like the philosophers and all these people, and Carl Jung and all these other people, like, oh, it might be some subconscious thing, like, because we don't know the ocean, it's a mystery, so it's like wisdom and stuff coming out of mystery, out of the unknown. And I'm like, it's a fish man, y'all. It's a dude that looks like a fish. This is a spooky story, and you're just all over the place.
Yeah, who's that guy from Futurama?
She pictures Zoidberg, this whole fucking thing, and it's Zoidberg running around down there worshiping. There's a bunch of Zoidbergs, like, kneeling and praying to this statue.
He's a fish man.
It's true, he is.
It's either him or that thing from Scooby-Doo.
Because what Lovecraft does well is that it's these Victorian era traveling around, these scientists trying to categorize the world, really tame the nature and even religion, everything on every front, from getting more atheist takes on old religions and the Bible, and then categorizing the world, whether it's biology or geography or studying stones. And that's the era Lovecraft is writing. But he really finds out that these old fish gods are real, and it's creepy because they're just like us. But they're not. They're creepy fish Zoidbergs. Kneeling and praying and worshipping. No way. You're going to play out loud Dr. Zoidberg?
No.
They can't hear it.
I'm actually not. There's something else I'm looking for.
Oh, really? Okay. You better be looking up Dagon.
That's not what I'm looking up.
I'm going to read this here. Of my frantic ascent of the slope and cliff, and of my delirious journey back to the stranded boat, I remember little. I believe I sang a great deal, and laughed oddly when I was unable to sing. So he's going crazy already. Just coming into contact with this shatters the mind.
I would like to help everyone understand. So, like, his lifeboat basically gets shipwrecked on this, like, nasty black ick. And he thinks that what it is that a volcano erupted underground and pushed a bunch of like magma, lava, like, up, and like within a couple days it dries and he runs out and he sees like a chasm, and he runs out, he goes over a hill. When he goes down the hill, there's a big chasm, right?
And
then in the chasm he finds the monolith. The monolith has scriptures on it of fish people. He's going insane. And then he runs away.
What do you think? What's wrong with that?
I'm just making sure everybody's on the same page.
How would you do it? You'd sit in the boat. I don't need to know what's over there. I don't need to explore the black goo expanse. You would go explore. Curiosity made this guy a maddened morphine addict.
I probably would have figured out how to fish.
There's dead fish everywhere. and some that are so horrible. Even a writer who made up the story can't describe them.
They edible?
You know what? This is why we don't go adventuring anywhere on Black Goo, because you have no sense of adventure, of what's over that hill.
No, I'm part hobbit, so we're having first and second breakfast and then going up the hill.
He was starving hungry, but maybe all the rotting fish flesh made him
He
lose
literally
his
talks
appetite.
about how the smell was so bad, but he was so hungry it didn't bother him.
Well, the more you know. Point is...
You didn't catch that?
No. It is quite a short story that I could literally scroll back a few pages and should be able to catch that.
How did you... You literally talked about how the smell was so bad.
For there was an air in the rotting soil, a sinister quality which chilled me to the bone.
Nope. You literally talked about how disgusting the smell was.
Yeah.
And he realizes that it costs less energy to walk at night.
Yeah. He's on here for a while.
It's like this entire story is him there.
Point is, because I don't want to lose it. He gets to San Francisco. When he gets to shore finally.
I found it.
Oh, okay, go.
The odor of the fish was maddening, but I was too much concerned with graver things to mind so slight and evil, and so set out boldly for an unknown goal.
Huh. Did he say to go find a McDonald's? He didn't say he was hungry. You trying me.
What else was graver?
Adventure? Learning? Mysterious cults? Oh, Busta, she got up. She's like sitting up. Baby break. That was the scariest shit. That was Lovecraftian horror if I ever seen it. I pressed something and thought
the entire podcast.
I've never done that before. You can delete, and I hit.
His face froze.
I thought I deleted this entire conversation.
He didn't even control Z. He went and like.
Yeah, I went up to the big dogs. I went to edit, and I said, "Please say," and it says redo recording. Like, that's a thing. I hope. To the underwater Dagons.
I also busted my ass.
Yeah.
Because the baby never sits up. She usually just wakes up. I can get to her. But she actually was like sitting herself up in a millisecond. I didn't want her to like
Roll this way. You're too far.
No, I didn't want her to like wake up.
Yeah.
So I was running over there.
She literally fell and I heard her thump on the side.
I'm okay. I caught myself, but like.
Yeah. That was scary.
All this because I'm talking shit about your Dagon.
See? It's the madness of the depths. What I was mentioning on before, he gets to San Fran, and in my delirium I had said much, but found that my words had given...
How does he get saved again? He just goes back out to sea and they find him, right?
Yeah, I have indistinct recollections of a great storm sometime after I reached the boat. At any rate, I know that I heard peals of thunder, Jesus, and other tones which nature utters only in a one's mood. When I came out of the shadows, I was in the San Francisco hospital. Brought thither by a captain of an American ship which had picked up my boat in mid-ocean. So he's just floating on the water. That's why I'm saying I think he his soul, he astral projects or something to the sea floor. That's why it's like mucky, gooey.
I mean, so I highlighted because he's at that monolith thing.
Mm-hmm.
Then he sees. I think these things were supposed to depict men, at least a certain sort of men, though the creatures. Oh yeah, you read that. Their faces and forms I dare not speak in detail, for the mere remembrance makes me grow faint.
Yeah.
Does it?
Yeah.
Grotesque beyond the imagination of a Poe or a Bulwer, they were damnably human in general outline, despite webbed hands and feet, shockingly wide and flappy lips, glassy bulging eyes, and other featureless, pleasant to recall.
Yeah.
Each other features less pleasant to recall.
Yeah.
And then he says, then suddenly I saw it, with only a slight churning to mark its rise to the surface. The thing slid into view above the dark waters. I think I went mad then.
Yeah, no, let me read. You skipped some funny parts in here.
Sorry.
Sorry. I mean, I'm not highlighting either. I remarked as I say their grotesqueness and strange size, but in a moment decided that they were merely the imagery of gods of some primitive fishing or seafaring tribe, some tribe whose last descendant had perished eras before the first ancestor of Piltdown or Neanderthal man was born. Awestruck by this unexpected glimpse into the past beyond the conception of the most daring anthropologist, I stood while the moon cast queer reflections on the silent channel before me. This is where he's actually describing the monsters. It darted like a stupendous monster of nightmares to the monolith, about which it flung its gigantic, scaly arms, the while it bowed its hideous head and gave vent to certain measured sounds. I think I went mad then. So he literally sees this monster thing that's being worshipped.
He hears it.
And then when he gets to San Fran, in my delirium I said much, saying, but once I sought out a celebrated ethnologist and amused him with peculiar questions regarding the ancient Philistine legend of Dagon, the fish god. But soon perceiving that he was hopelessly conventional, I did not pass my inquiries. So the guy's very boring thinking in the box guy. But that's what I was mentioning before, that you got literally by name the Dagon is a fish god, but also this theme is across all the cultures.
I love the way he runs back to the boat, by the way. Of my frantic ascent of the slope and cliff and of my delirious journey back to the stranded boat, I remember little. I believe I sang a great deal and laughed oddly when I was unable to sing.
Yeah, as I mean by it, that's how you know he went mad. Yeah. He's literally goofball singing. So with a lot of Lovecraft stuff, like that last story we just did, we learn he wasn't in the flesh when he thinks he's walking into the tomb. Like,
yeah, so is this like that?
He's just floating on a boat, and that's why it's so easy to dismiss it. Like, it's just a nightmare, bro, or you're just mentally ill. You just had.
Well, that's so the reason he needs the morphine constant time is like he says, it is at night, especially when the moon is gibbous and waning, that I see the thing. I tried morphine, but the drug has given only transient.
Circease.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You caught me. I don't know. All right, folks, we're gonna learn a word today. I'm so embarrassed.
Surcease.
Surcease.
Cease.
Surcease.
Wow. I just woke up our child with Surcease. It's how it's pronounced. Her third word she's gonna ever say. Surcease.
I'm gonna cry.
It means. That was so loud. It means to cease. It's just a longer way to say cease.
I'm gonna cry.
All that work.
Keep your freaking Scrabble.
I am, you fool. I am Marte Sorcease. Sorcease the sorcerer. Anyways. And as drawn me, he's basically a slave to morphine, just trying to stay out of the madness induced by the...
I dream of a day when they may rise above the billows to drag down in their reeking talons the remnants of puny, war-exhausted mankind, of a day when the land shall sink and the dark ocean floor shall ascend amidst universal pandemonium. Wow. The end is near. I hear a noise at the door, as of some immense slippery body lumbering against it. It shall not find me. God, that hand. The window. The window.
Yeah. So
nothing capitalized.
That's true. We get an italics, but not a capitalization. Look at that.
Growth.
They all end with something dramatic happening to the character, but I mean, that's...
Cliffhanger.
But you didn't like the imagery? You got nothing? Doesn't tickle none of your pickles?
I mean, it was cool. Yes. I honestly, like...
No, it's just so funny.
Creatively, like I don't feel like it launched me into this, like, oh, this would be so cool.
Yeah, you'd have no interest in these underwater demon monster creatures, right?
No, and I actually love underwater stuff, so...
I know, so it's nuts. I'm not saying you're crazy. I'm not saying you have the madness of a Cthulhu-induced monster. Because I literally, during baby break, while she was helping her go back to sleep, I sent her a screenshot of like people bickering because I was looking at a video about Stephen King for our next talk, and they're all going back and forth about Lovecraft. Some people love it. They literally say, you got to read Dagon, then you'll love it. And the other people are like, Dagon, shit, I hate it. It's all such bad, clunky writing. I hate Lovecraft, and people are going back and forth. That's why I was saying in the opening, I'm going to bust your balls. But I know that this is a real debate.
This guy.
Why did you have Scooby-Doo pulled up over there?
Because I could have sworn that this guy's in Scooby-Doo.
Who?
A character like this.
A Cthulhu monster?
Yeah.
Really? Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Damn. No, maybe you're talking... I think people put him. I think you've seen memes where they put him in there. We're like, it's Cthulhu. Yeah. So, I don't know if you want to talk about the cat one, or if you want to end on...
I think we're good.
Yeah.
I feel like this is a good summary.
Yeah. I didn't read the cat one, but from what you told me, it was strange. We have a list of other ones. I think I know her. If you guys are
Look, the cat one's really easy to summarize. You know what happens? There's a city with 2 old people that like to kill everyone's cats. Everyone doesn't want to approach them and confront them because they're happy that they're killing cats and not their kids. One day, a band of like Egyptian or
literally gypsies, but
like
Egyptian gypsies.
Like
where
they come into town, and they're not the normal travelers that come twice a year, because it was really specific that these travelers tend to come twice a year, but these guys are not them.
Mm-hmm.
The people that came into town are like a different people that they never seen before, and they only came through once. And like the head of the whole group has like a thing on his head that's got horns and like a obelisk thing in between the horns, some imagery that's supposed to be ominous and creepy. So they have this little kid with them. I forget his name, but basically the plague killed his parents and left him with this little black kitten, and the little kitten makes him happy. It's like the only thing that makes him happy and keeps him from being sad from the fact that he's all alone in this world.
Yeah.
And then one day he wakes up and his little kitten is gone, and everyone in town is like, yeah, we heard weird sounds from the old people that kill cats, so they probably killed your cat last night. So the little kid's like, sha-la-la-la-la-la-la. Yeah. And he does a prayer into the sky, and the clouds change and become dark, and there's like shapes in the sky that are the same animal head shape that like the guy that's a leader wears thing, and all of a sudden they like
real thunder.
That's
a
so
giant
creepy.
storm rolled in as we're talking about Lovecraft. I love it.
So then the little kid's like, all right, good night. And the next day there's like no cats anywhere, and these people leave, and everyone's like, oh no, the people killed our cats. And other people in the town are like, no, the old people have to have killed all the cats, because there's absolutely no cat, no gray cat, no white cat, no orange cat, nobody. You literally list the different color cats, and none of them are where they usually are. None of them are in front of the fireplace or in the barnyard or whatever. Then like the day after that, the cats come back, and this little boy was like, hey, I saw something weird last night when I snuck out of my house, because these kids just don't stay in the house at night. I saw the cat circling, like every cat in town was circling the old people's house. Wasn't that weird? And everyone's like, yeah, okay, kid, shut up. But all the cats come back, and they're all really fat and purring and content, and they don't want to eat for like a week. And then in that week, everyone's like, you know, it was weird. We haven't seen that creepy old couple that we think would kill children if they didn't have cats to kill. Maybe we should check on them. So they send like the town checker with like 2 of the biggest dudes they had, so that he doesn't go alone and die. They send him with like the blacksmith and like the carpentry guy or something. They knock on the door, and they're like, hey, creepy old people. And no one's coming to the door, and they're like, hello, creepy old people. And still no one comes to the door. So he's like, all right, I brought y'all for muscle. Bust the door down. They bust the door down, and there's 2 skeletons that have been picked clean. And then a law was passed that you should never, ever, you can't, it's illegal to kill cats in the city of Ulthar.
Nothing creepy about that.
No, they got what they deserved.
Yeah, I actually agree. I'm like, it's just a odd short story. It's nothing horror, really.
But that's it. That's the story.
Yeah. Like I said,
I guess he had a love of cats.
Comment. Yeah, I like that. Like I said, it's him playing with the like early 1900s Egyptomania. Like they love it.
That was it. That was a short story.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's not really like groundbreaking. Again, I haven't read like his groundbreaking.
That was interesting. So
sorry.
The comment I sent her was somebody that doesn't like Dagon, that thinks a lot of his writing is bad, but she liked these 3, which 2 of them I don't think I even heard of. She admits they're like, it's weird because they're more obscure ones. But one of them that she lists is what Lovecraft says is his favorite, The Color of Space, a Color from Space.
Oh my god, I have hiccups. That's one of the ones I should read.
Yeah, so there'll be an update in the future. But the next book we are going to cover, I'm almost done with it actually, is The Shining. It's incredible.
Is it not addicting?
Yeah.
So I read this book and I have very good recollection. Are we just jumping into The Shining?
No.
Okay.
Just the trailer.
So I'll probably mention this again in the next one when we actually touch on it. I'm actually rereading it with Freddie, but I have read it before.
Yeah.
The only thing is when I read it, I had a concussion.
Yeah, the parallels are crazy. The parallel lives.
Yeah, I had a concussion for The Shining, and I finished The Shining while I had the concussion, and I started Dr. Sleep. So there are parts I don't entirely remember.
She got a concussion while we were trying to do something to the house, working on the house.
We were trying to do something cute to the house.
If you read The Shining, it's like that's so creepy.
Y'all can hear the story in the next one.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see. But I guess we should call it there, right? For our tale on the Lovecraft. We'll get into more. The story continues, but
yeah.
I still enjoy. I literally listen to Lovecraft
finish it. I'll read them, but I'm not like in a rush to finish this.
Yeah, of course. And I get it. Look, when we go from these to The Shining, I'm like, goddamn. And of course, it's Stephen King's maybe his best work, or at least people put it up there. I saw a list of the top 25 horror books of all time, and Shining was at number 1.
I'm like so excited to talk about The Shining. It's crazy.
Yeah, but we'll call it here.
But we had to do this because I refused to finally read this with you and not talk about this.
Lovecraft?
Yeah.
Oh, of course. And well, there'll be more to come. But we'll see you guys in the next one. We're excited. Yeah. It's spooky season, by the way. That's why we're kicking off all these spooky.
Welcome to spooky season.
Yeah. We'll
be reading spooky things until we're
end
tired
of October.
of it.
End of October, at least. Who are you kidding?
I mean, what if it could be past that even?
I know it could.
It's like fall is spooky.
I know, right? The whole winter, obviously, for our ancestors all across the globe.
Literally, The Shining takes place.
Yeah, November.
Fall, winter.
Yeah. They're in their past. They're going to be into December soon, if not already. Where I am.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. All right, guys. We'll see you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.